What we're going to talk about today in cruise, or however much of cruise actually there is for 211 nautical mile trip, is the new announcement of the what is it called? The Asobo funded a legend, local legend, I think they're called. I'll pull it up in a second, and we will talk about it. I'm very excited because it's going to be the local legend 10 is going to actually be the 707. But there's a little bit of oh look, there's an MD-11. I wonder if that's the TFDI MD-11 coming in. Very cool. But I have a bit of tongue-in-cheek because I know that it's going to be an airplane heaven aircraft, which, let's be honest, I've not been terribly enamored of the airplane heaven offerings in recent times. Most other people, as far as I have read in response to the announcement, also share my same concerns. So we will see how we'll see what we see. Ground City 730 is requesting taxi.
City 730, taxi holding point Mike 1, runway 26 left via Mike.
Taxi holding point Mike 1 for runway 26 left via Mike, City 730. Okay, so another thing we will need is we will need tower, which is 12423.
Ground EZ87 Mike Lima, check.
EZ87 Mike Lima, Gatwick ground, hello, readability 5.
Let's get flaps 11.
EZ87 Mike Lima, Airbus 320 Neo 7112, information Charlie and Boss QH 1018, requesting aircraft is to finish trying to go.
EZ87 Mike Lima, contact Gatwick delivery 121.955, goodbye.
1.955 over EZ87 Mike Lima, goodbye.
City 730, contact Gatwick Tower 124.230, goodbye.
Tower on 124.230. Thank you very much. City 730.
EZ51 Zulu Delta is
Ryanair 814, Gatwick Tower.
Ryanair 814, I have some difficulties, my plane kind of crashed.
Ryanair 814, confirm you're established for runway 26 left.
Yep, 26 left, but I'm gonna do a visual approach.
Roger, Ryanair 814, surface wind 230 degrees, 6 knots, runway 26 left, cleared
my
to
goodness.
land.
Please land to 6 left, 814.
There he is. Way too low. Way too low. Okay. So, Tower, hello. City 730 is holding Mike 1.
City 730, Gatwick Tower, Roger. Are you ready to copy after departure instructions?
Ready. 730.
Roger, City 730 after departure, runway 26 left, climb straight ahead to 4000, until 4000, then turn right heading 060, floating Gatling, that is Delta Echo Tango. Then as per discretion, yeah.
After departure, climb straight ahead up to 4000 and a right-hand turn to 060. After that, direct to Detling VOR for City 730. Oh my goodness.
City 730, report ready for departure.
And we are ready for departure, 730. Oh my word.
Airport City 730 via Mike 1, line up 26 left.
Line up 26 left, City 730. Okay, now we're passing the threshold. Let's get the landing lights on. And the strobe is coming on. And also the gust lock going off. Lol. Isn't that so much fun when you forget that? That Ryanair.
Ryanair 81 for evading onto Foxtrot.
Evading?
City 730, surface wind 230 degrees, 6 knots. Runway 26 left, cleared for takeoff.
Clear takeoff, runway 26 left, City 730. Let's just make sure we set that down to 4,000.
Ryanair 814, welcome to Gatwick. Taxi,
Okay,
second
let's
right,
go.
Juliet. Hold short, uniform.
Am I clear for runway crossing?
Power set.
Ryanair 814, inform the northern runway is inactive. You may cross it without clearance.
Copy, Ryanair.
Rotate. Positive rate, gear up. And flaps up. Autopilot on. The famous flyers, that's what they're called. The famous flyer number 10 is going to be the 707-320 Bravo. So here we are, ladies and gents, in the cruise, in a vintage airliner on VATSIM in Microsoft Flight Simulator. The famous Flyer 10, the Boeing 707-320C. So this is going to be an Aeroplane Heaven add-on. It's probably going to be priced similarly to the DC-3 when they released that as a famous flyer back in the day. Being Aeroplane Heaven, I don't really know what kind of systems depth there's going to be, if any. I don't hold out any confidence in Aeroplane Heaven's abilities in the systems simulation. Sure, they can give you a fairly pretty 3D model, exterior and interior, but when it comes to the actual simulation of the aircraft, I don't hold out any hope. But the one thing I do hold out hope for is the aircraft being moddable by the community. Now, we have a very respectable mod for the DC-3 by a friend of mine on my Discord for the DC-3, and it's on flightsim.to. It's called the oh, my brain really isn't working tonight, is it? The Duckworths, that's it. The Duckworths DC-3 mod. And it really brings the DC-3 up to a really good place. And it makes it quite a decent little aircraft to fly for the price that you pay and etc. That's kind of what I'm hoping for the 707. Now, the 707 for me is a really interesting aircraft because it's very, very hard to fly in a flight sim. And the reason is that it's very hard to get your hands on it. The last person I will tell you who developed the 707 for a flight sim is Captain Sim. And that was back in the day when I'm actually just going to turn off. I'm going to crank this down even more so I can actually hear myself. There we go. The last time the 707 was developed was actually for FSX. That's the original FSX way back in the day. Before Prepared 3D, before Lockheed Martin, probably before X-Plane, I don't know. X-Plane 9, X-Plane 8, I don't even know if they had X-Plane 8. But anyway, the point being, nobody has developed a worthy 707 simulation for a desktop flight simulation within easily the last 10 years, 10 to 15 years probably, easily the last decade and a half. Now, why am I saying that? Well, it's because it's something that I feel like developers these days, so many of the developers think, oh, vintage airliners, nobody's going to fly them, there isn't There isn't the player base that wants them. There isn't the demand for them in a simulator. It'll be a loss on our investment. Therefore, let's not risk it. I feel that's a kind of a cart before the horse situation, because look at this. Look at this. This is a little regional vintage airliner developed by Just Flight. And Just Flight have done an amazing job with this. I love it. I love it. It's the closest I can get to a 707 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So that's why I'm flying it today, to show you that you can indeed fly these aircraft on VATSIM. And really the bar or the threshold for many an airliner is, can you fly it in an online environment with other people around, with air traffic control? That's kind of the standard, or IVAO, you know. Okay, we've got live ATC, well, not live ATC, we've got various AI ATC packages coming along, so you could fly it in an offline capacity. I've not tried any of them yet. Maybe I will pick one up in the future when I see that they are competent for general aviation aircraft as well as not just airliners, because I do a lot of that. But until then, I'm stuck with VATSIM as my benchmark for being able to competently operate an aircraft. And okay, you saw me take off from Gatwick there. It wasn't as per the checklists. It was quick, it was dirty, but I got the aircraft in the air and I'm having fun. And that really should be the threshold for people starting with a new add-on. Especially with 707, it's a vintage cockpit, buttons and switches all over the place, much like our beloved. Why am I still hearing? Much like our beloved F-28, where we've got buttons and switches all over the place. And when you first have a look at photos of the inside of this cockpit, you think, "Oh my goodness, this is really, really complex." Actually, it really isn't. It's actually quite easy. It's actually quite simple. It's foolishly simple, really. So, really, it's not really a lose-lose situation for developers to develop a 707. I feel like it should have been done years before now, but sadly it isn't. The one issue I have heard on the forums is someone saying they're sad that it's Aeroplane Heaven who have taken up the mantle to develop a 707, because once Aeroplane Heaven put a 707 into the sim, it deters any other developer to come along and develop a 707 as well, because they think, oh, well, the whole market's already been taken by that kind of moderately developed, with moderate systems depths aircraft over there, which is really sad. I do know that PMDG, as far as I'm aware, have a secret project, quote-unquote, that they're working on. I think they're going to announce it at the end of this month at the Flight Sim Expo in Vegas. I would love it to be a 707. I think they have already stated that it's not a 727, but no one has asked them if it's a 707 yet, and they haven't said it's not. So I'm personally holding out hope that it's actually going to be a 707. It's just, yep, I've blown through my VOR. Of course I have, because that's the aircraft I'm flying. Let's get the new heading set out. So it takes a little bit of knowledge of your aircraft, of the systems, of how everything looks. But when it comes to flying airliners, let's just give them some time to run around the cabin. When it comes to flying airliners, steam gauges are fine. I don't understand. I feel like everyone is jumping around like headless chickens right now, waiting for the PMDG 777 to drop. And it's like they're ravenous wolves waiting for this thing. And yes, I understand. It's cool. It's PMDG. They do their job incredibly well. And it would be an incredible... I should have turned those off, actually. And it will be an incredible airliner. But essentially, for all that money and all that systems depth, What most people do is they buy it, they install it, they take off, they throw in a route, and they hit autopilot, and they sit there and they stare at it for 8 hours, and then they begin their descent, and then they arm the approach, they get the gear and the flaps down, and then they touch down and taxi to the gate. That's it. And for me, it's okay. But really what holds my interest and really what holds my passion for aviation is learning how to fly an airliner as big as the 777, but without all of the modern conveniences of GPS, etc., 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 flying it as it would have been flown back in the day, with that higher workload, there's a greater sense of satisfaction. And I think for those of you who are listening to this who understand what I'm saying, you really understand it. It's not rocket science. And a lot of these older vintage airliners, a lot of people think that their systems are more complex because they get scared by this. Look, you get scared by this. You go, oh my goodness, this is way too much for me to handle. I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to worry about that. Actually, no. It's actually more simple to fly something like this than to fly the 737 or the A320, because when you think about it, okay, there's more automation, but what the aircraft is doing is far more complex things than this aircraft. When you want it to do something, there's literally one individual switch that individually deals with that one function on the aircraft. You click it, and that's all it does. There's very little automation, which means that you have a much simpler time of it, a much more direct. Your connection with the aircraft is much more visceral, much more direct, much more manual, much more proactive. And it makes you feel like you're flying the aircraft rather than you just managing the aircraft. There's a difference there between managing the aircraft and actually flying it. For those of you who know, again, I say you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, grab the 707 and give it a try when it comes out. I know obviously it's probably the system's depth is going to be crap. It's not like the PMDG 737 or the Fenix A320, but give it a go and try it out. Now, the other thing I'm going to say is we have a thing called the INS. Now, this aircraft doesn't have an INS because it's such a small regional airliner. It won't do routes long enough to need an INS. And you won't be flying hours and hours and hours out over the water. But for the 707 and the DC-8, which was its McDonnell Douglas contemporary, they both used the INS. Now, we don't actually currently have an INS unit modeled in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Here we are 4 years on, and we still don't have an INS in the sim. I know that Just Flight is bringing the A300 with an INS and steam gauges into the sim. It's under development. I'm really looking forward to it. But until then, I think the 707 by Airplane Heaven will be the first aircraft that should have an INS. Now, it being Airplane Heaven, I have no clue what the quality of the modeling of that INS unit will be, how realistic it will be, if it has gyro drift and all of that fun stuff. Who knows? I hope it does. I have a fear it won't, so it might just be a bit crap. But, again, hopefully we can turn to the modding community to pick up where Airplane Heaven invariably always leave off. What else was I going to say? Yes. Until it comes out, I will be flying the DC-8, which, again, is a 4-engine jetliner. It's not in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it's in P3D version 4. I'm going to be flying that in, and I will be doing more INS long hauls to prepare myself for the release of the 707. And as soon as the 707 drops, I will be reviewing it. I will be doing tutorial videos on it for those of you who want to watch that. So for those of you who do, feel free to subscribe and tick the bell so that when that drops, I should be able to do a live stream on it, and you should be able to get away to the races. So that all being said, I need to contact... Who do I need to contact?
Hello, City 730. You have not used the correct routing, sir. You must use the airways next time for the flight plan. Are you able to proceed direct to Schiphol?
We are an RNAV-only aircraft, vintage airliner, Fokker F-28. So if I could get vectors onto an ILS or an RNAV star, that would be great. City 730.
Okay, I understand to a certain extent. I understand I understand the limitations, but we have letters of agreements to keep with the neighbors, sir. It's not possible to always expect service with RNAV or with conventional waypoints. For now, you can turn left heading 050. Expect vectors for runway 27.
Flaps full.
Receive 112, runway 27, clear to land. The wind is 300 degrees, 6 knots.
Flaps are full.
Clear to land, runway 27.
Speed brakes armed.
Thank you.
TTCs are on takeoff. All the lights are set. And now it's just about correct speed. And watching the profile, and down we go.
KLM 60, Quebec, descend to 3000, QNH 1018.
This will be a late landing clearance, probably.
3018, KLM 60, Quebec. Alpha 82, speed to 20 or greater.
To 20 or greater. 82.
You're wing 6 Papa Hotel. Start reducing speed 180 or greater until 6 mile final.
180 or greater until 60, wing 6 Papa Hotel.
Maybe I should have done a reduced flap landing to give me a faster approach speed to fit in with these bigger jets. That's always a problem with slower and older aircraft, really. The 707, you shouldn't have that issue, though. So I'm looking forward to really flying that on VATSIM. Okay, that easy is just turning off now.
Easy 112, stand Hotel 1 via Bravo.
Stand Hotel 1 and via Bravo, easy 112.
Correct. 7, correction, City 730, runway 27, clear to land. Wind 300 degrees, 6 knots.
Clear to land, runway 27, City 730. Look at that sunset. Beautiful. Oh.
KLM 60, Quebec, speed to 20 or less.
Speed to 20 or less, KLM 60, Quebec.
Okay, out with the autopilot, manual, and engage the speed brake at about 20 feet off the runway surface to spoil the ground effect for a nice smooth touchdown. Yeah, and it's customary in the F-28 to engage the spoiler before you actually touch down. Glide slope, checked. We're visual now. Visual, minimum, checked. Continue. Still on speed. Let's just bring it to the right slightly. There we go. In we come. 30. Okay, speed brake engaged. Speed brake is out. And down with the throttles. And there we go, touchdown. Nice, smooth touchdown. Just maintain center line with the rudder. Wait for the nose wheel to come down and manual braking. Like so. Flaps up. And just merge to the left. Okay. And we're in. Let's just bring the... There we go. Oh, I think it's actually this way.
City 730, taxi via Alpha to stand Alpha 72.
Taxi to stand Alpha 72 via Alpha City 730. Again, obviously you will every now and then run into an ATC controller who says, you're not allowed to fly around without a GPS. You need to go and do exactly as I say and fly to this GPS waypoint because that is all I know how to do, so you must do it my way. And it's like those people, you just smile and wave and you say, okay, right. And if they give you a lot of problem, just disconnect and fly another day and another controller will be fine with you, because that's the thing. VATSIM, there's nowhere on VATSIM that states that you need to be flying an A320 or a 737 with an FMC that you can plug waypoints into. VATSIM is all about flying realistically, but flying jets and GA and prop aircraft all together in one massive great community server, but doing so in a way that hopefully you can fit everyone in. And it gets quite difficult when you're trying to fly a Lockheed Constellation in amongst 777s at Heathrow. Obviously that's going to be a big issue. You really need to make sure you know what you're doing and fly at the right time of day. But when it comes to a vintage aircraft like this, or indeed the 707 when it arrives next month, we shouldn't be having any problems. So if you're looking forward to that aircraft, as I am, please feel free to stick around on the channel, and I will be doing live streams and tutorial videos on that when it comes out. So that's it from me, folks, for the moment. Hope you enjoyed that, and hope you enjoyed the my demo of the map enhancement tool that injected Bing maps instead of the default maps. I still need to trial that a bit more, but it's consistently giving me better results. So have a good evening, and I will catch you all later.